Crash and burn, Casey.
No teasing, just elegant.
That shit weakens the leg, meat.
Brings out the color in your eyes.
To jack you up.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be on this fine planet. And today, we're gonna talk about a movie that I was insanely obsessed with when I was a kid. Going into 6th grade is when I first saw this movie, and I demanded that I had my parents drive me to the Tommy Hilfiger store just because I wanted to get Tommy Hilfiger clothing, because this entire movie sponsored, Tommy Hilfiger was like, hey, you can have all these characters wear Tommy Hilfiger clothing. So I needed the Tommy Hilfiger clothing. And that movie is The Faculty. Maybe people already knew that everybody in this movie wears Tommy Hilfiger, but there's also like a thing at the end credits that's just like, thanks to Tommy Hilfiger for sponsoring the movie. I just got the 4K edition from Shout Factory. Kind of disappointed in the special features though. Shout Factory used to actually give a shit about special features and stuff like that. This is just a new 4K scan from the original camera negative approved by director Robert Rodriguez. We love Robert. Presented in Dolby Vision. That's great. The Blu-ray has The Thing from Another Classroom interview with special makeup and creature effects artist Greg Nicotero, which is great. We love Greg. And a new Too Cool for School interview with production designer Carrie White. That's great. That's wonderful. But that's kind of not a lot for especially what Scream Factory used to do. Shout Factory, Scream Factory used to do. I feel like now they're just kind of cashing it. It's just like, hey, there's a 4K of this movie that not a lot of people love, but a lot of people do love. You know, I did read somewhere that apparently Mr. Rodriguez had no interest in contributing to the bonus features, which is kind of odd because he contributed very heavily in bonus features for Arrow's release of the El Mariachi trilogy. So that's kind of weird. Wonder if Robert's just like, I don't like The Faculty. And I'd be like, Robert, I think you're wrong. I think you're real wrong, man. So it's great. I'm glad to have this in my collection. I haven't even watched it. I literally just got it today. So I don't even know how it looks. So I'm hoping that it looks great, especially if Robert Rodriguez approved it. Update, I totally got a chance to watch the 4K version, and it's well worth the price. Not worth the bonus features, but worth the price of if you want to upgrade the 4K. So if you don't also know, just to give a little bit more information, The Faculty from 1998 is a sci-fi horror film directed by Robert Rodriguez, written by Kevin Williamson, best known for his work from Scream, especially at this time, and starring a young ensemble cast including Josh Hartnett, Jordana Brewster, Elijah Wood, Clea Duvall, and Usher Raymond. He gave his last name here, not just Usher. It was Usher Raymond. The film mixes elements of teen drama, body-snatching horror, and high school tropes to create a modern homage to sci-fi films like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. But let's talk about this lovely movie from 1998, The Faculty. Set at Harrington High School in Ohio, the story follows a group of misfit students who discover that their teachers and other school staff are being taken over by alien parasites. The students band together to uncover the truth and stop the invasion, blending teenage rebellion with an undercurrent of paranoia. Yeah, I loved this movie so much when I was a kid. This movie, it was like known that like, oh, Kevin Williamson wrote this other movie. Scream came out in 1996 and it was such a huge impact on so many things. And I believe we'll dive into some fun facts, but I'm pretty sure that this was even written before Scream was written. Robert Rodriguez brought his kinetic, low-budget expertise seen in films like Desperado and From Dusk Till Dawn to The Faculty, which elevated what could have been a straightforward teen horror flick into something stylish and action-packed. Robert Rodriguez most known for getting on into the scene with making a movie that only cost him $7,000. I love this guy. I love this guy so much. If you have not read the book Rebel Without a Crew, it is so good. It's still effective to this day. I give that thing a read, not as much as I should, but his book is so good, and just the trials and tribulations that you go through to make a movie for no money, and what to also do to raise $7,000, which he was a lab rat to raise money for his movie El Mariachi. And then once El Mariachi got into Sundance, and then him and Tarantino became buds, and then he went off in 95 and made Desperado, which is a remake sequel, and then he did a segment in the movie Four Rooms, and then he went on to direct From Dusk Till Dawn, and then after Dusk Till Dawn in 96 he went on to direct The Faculty in 1998. Coming off the success of Scream, Williamson's script for The Faculty offered a similar mix of self-awareness and genre homage, with characters making references to sci-fi classics.
Well, the body snatchers, they were pawns, but where are they?
To my knowledge, I don't think a lot of people talk about The Faculty, but this is like a movie where I feel like a lot of people should talk about. It's one of those movies where like a lot of like people watch to maybe get inspired to go off and make their own little sci-fi thing. This is like such a cool homage to Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Josh Hartnett was cast just after his breakout role in Halloween H2O 20 years later. He was positioned as a rising teen heartthrob. Usher Raymond was brought in partly to appeal to younger music-loving audiences as his music career was booming at the time. The cast also included established actors like Robert Patrick from Terminator 2 as the menacing Coach Willis, Piper Laurie from Carrie as Mrs. Olsen, and Jon Stewart in a rare acting role as science teacher Mr. Furlong. As an adult, I know where Jon Stewart came from, essentially, and like, you know, The Daily Show, I think he did, yeah, The Daily Show and all that stuff. But like back then, I knew him from The Faculty and Big Daddy. Like I was like, who's this guy? Usher, I'm just gonna call him by Usher, not Usher Raymond, because I grew up listening to him as Usher. All the ladies love the Usher. I first saw Josh Hartnett in H2O and I was like, oh, I love this dude. This dude looks like he just rolled out of bed, his hair and all that stuff, smoking ciggies. He's cool. He's in one of my favorite movies of 1998, which was Halloween H2O. But then I saw him again pop up in The Faculty and I was like, this dude's around again. He's got that crazy hair. It looks like he hasn't like done his hair in like months. I love that. And he's rolling in with a cool old car and stuff. And yeah, I mean, Elijah Wood was in it, which Elijah Wood, I mean, it's kind of weird. Like I grew up with Elijah Wood on my TV screen, starting with like The Good Son and then like North. But then, yeah, and then I see him in this movie and I'm just like, oh, wow. Many of the alien effects were achieved using practical techniques, with CGI used sparingly to create the parasitic creatures. Rodriguez was known for his efficient use of practical effects, even on a relatively higher budget. I'm curious to watch this movie on 4K because even just digitally, this movie has not held up very well with some of the CGI that goes on. And there's not a lot of CGI that happens, but like the tentacles of the creature and the parasite like just doesn't really hold up, but doesn't take me away from how great and how much fun of a movie this is. During the scene in the gymnasium pool, Elijah Wood expressed discomfort with Woodard due to a childhood incident. Despite this, he performed much of the sequence himself. Rodriguez often reused props and sets from other films. For The Faculty, he repurposed high school interiors originally built for Spy Kids. Fun thing about The Faculty and myself, my personal life, I actually lived down the street from the high school that was used in The Faculty. I believe it was a school for like hearing impaired kids and stuff, if I remember correctly. But I lived right down the street from it in Austin when I was living in Austin, and I would always drive by and I'm like, that's so much fun. Where's Josh at? Where's Zeke? Where's Casey? Another one of my young crushes, Jordana Brewster. Where's Delilah? The scene where the students test each other by snorting caffeine powder is a direct homage to the blood testing scene in John Carpenter's The Thing. Rodriguez cited Carpenter as a major influence on his career, as Carpenter is on every filmmaker, let's get real. Quentin Tarantino was originally approached to make a cameo as one of the teachers, but scheduling conflicts prevented it. Rodriguez and Tarantino frequently collaborated, making this a missed opportunity for fans. I never knew that, and I don't know how 100% sure that is. As always, it's this half-assed internet research, and I mean, that would be pretty good. I mean, if he was supposed to maybe play like Jon Stewart's character, that would have been so good. It would have been so great. Thankfully, we kind of got like a queasy scumbag Tarantino in Rodriguez's Planet Terror movie. In the scene where Jon Stewart's character gets stabbed in the eye with a pen filled with caffeine, the prop eyeball was so realistic that it reportedly freaked out some of the cast members on set. A lot of the special effects, I mean, it's done really well, but yeah, I think just the CGI, I think just does not really hold up so well. The film featured an eclectic soundtrack with contributions from bands like The Offspring, Creed, and Garbage. It also included a cover of Pink Floyd's Another Brick in the Wall by Class of '99, a supergroup featuring members of Alice in Chains and Rage Against the Machine. I remember having the soundtrack for this movie and was just such a fan. I really think that the cover of Another Brick in the Wall was so good. You also had Creed. Gotta love Creed. Creed did a cover of Alice Cooper's 18, which I thought was so good. The Offspring, you know, The Kids Are All Right. I think that's what the song's called. Offspring's a band, but that song's a banger. So I read this somewhere, don't know how true it is, but I'm pretty sure it came from Robert Rodriguez himself doing an interview. I will try to have to find it again and place it here if I can. But apparently the Weinstein Companies, this is a Dimension Films film, which was owned by the Weinstein Companies, Harvey Weinstein, and Bob Weinstein. Apparently, it was either Bob Weinstein or Harvey Weinstein approached Robert Rodriguez to direct this movie under one condition. Robert Rodriguez wanted them to finance Spy Kids, which I think is such a wild of a of a deal, but I guess if that's what is true, that is what happened, and now we have so many Spy Kids movies, a revamp of Spy Kids movies. A win-win. You know, we got Spy Kids and The Faculty out of it. While not a major box office hit, The Faculty has grown a cult following due to its mix of teen drama and horror. It resonated with audiences who appreciated its genre blending and witty dialogue. The Faculty was part of the late 1990s teen horror boom initiated by Scream, solidifying Williamson as a powerhouse writer. The film is now considered a nostalgic time capsule for fans of late 90s cinema, which stars in early roles. We have now seen so many of these actors in this cast go on to huge movies. I mean, you got Elijah Wood, that dude's always been in the game, so we don't even have to talk about him. You got Josh Hartnett, who blew up in Hollywood and then went away and then came back with Trap. And then you got Jordana Brewster, who, I don't know if this is her first movie, maybe one of her first movies, but now she's probably best known as like from the Fast and Furious franchise. Also, you got Clea Duvall, who I believe directed that one Christmas movie with Kristen Stewart and Dan Levy's son, or is his name Dan Levy? Is it Dan? I don't know. You also have a hell of a lot of fun other cast members like Famke Janssen. Sorry, I'm pretty sure I said that right. But as mentioned before, Piper Laurie, Salma Hayek, Christopher McDonald.
No more flogging the bishop.
Robert Patrick, John Abrahams plays a little quick role. Summer Phoenix plays a quick little role. I love that their titles are Fuck You Boy and You Girl. Another fun little thing that, because I'm an editor, you know, by day and stuff like that, but Rodriguez edited the entire film at his home in Austin, Texas on his own equipment. He is well known for hands-on involvement in all stages of production, often taking on roles as like editor and composer in addition to directing. He also does camera operating, DP, the dude's everywhere. And a fun fact, it's online, so I'm not like giving anything away. Robert Rodriguez bought the house from Blank Check, that movie Blank Check, a little castle looking house. I don't know if that's still his house, but that is his house. That is awesome. That is so cool. That's the coolest thing on the planet. I remember living in Austin, and you know, I didn't live too far away from that. I got to see that house in real life, and I'm just like, oh my God, like childhood, like just nostalgia, just in real life and seeing it firsthand. But that's it for today's video. Go pick up The Faculty, Scream, Shout Factory, Scream Factory. I don't know what the hell they call themselves anymore. Go pick that up if you want. If not, that's cool. I ain't getting paid for this shit. Go check out The Faculty if you have not checked out The Faculty before. All right, that's it for now. See you again sometime soon.